we go racing! Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix is underway!
Hey, I'm Sanity, and welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome to another episode of Pit Lane Sweets and Treats. Pit Stop Sweets and Treats. I keep getting that confused. Let's get our apron on. Welcome to round 7 in Imola, Italy, where every week on the F1 calendar, we make a traditional dessert inspired by our hosting country. And since we are in Italy this week, we are going to be making the Italian classic Panna Cotta, which is like a custard pudding. It's actually going to be our second custard pudding we're making on this calendar this year. So to start, I have 1 tablespoon of whole milk and 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin and flavor. And we're just going to whisk these together. Fun fact, technically I'm allergic to gelatin because gelatin is made out of animal bones and I'm allergic to pork. Okay, I'm gonna mix this well till it kind of like dissolves. Setting our gelatin to a side to bloom for about 10 minutes, we are gonna go to the stove right now. So quickly, I'm gonna do this over here because I don't wanna have to move the camera back. To take half of a vanilla bean here, cut it down the center carefully. And I'm just gonna scrape out the inside using the back of my knife. We're going to turn onto a low heat, adding half a cup of full fat milk minus that 1 tablespoon we used earlier, 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, a generous pinch of salt, and 1/4 of a cup of granulated sugar, along with the empty vanilla bean pod and our vanilla bean paste. And we are going to whisk this together right before it boils is when we'll stop. So while I am mixing this and making sure it doesn't burn, let's go over the history of the dessert. For the 1960s, Panna Cotta was not mentioned in any sort of Italian cookbooks, but has always been cited as a traditional dessert from the Italian region of Piedmont. I apologize in advance. I'm sure my Italian is going to be butchered. One tale claims a Hungarian woman in Lang invented the dish during the 19th century, and a 1879 article mentions a dish called latte inglese, meaning English milk, made using cream cooked with gelatin and molded into a fun-shaped cup. Another source claims latte inglese was made with egg yolks, kind of like a flan. Another source claims the dessert came from a French recipe from the Marie Antoinette Creamery in La Passion Royale Parisian, which is the same as the modern Panna Cotta, but they used heavy cream to make a chantilly cream, aka whipped cream, before mixing in the gelatin. So we just put the gelatin straight in there. However, Piedmont in 2001 listed Panna Cotta as a traditional food product, and the dessert became popular in the US during the 1990s. I'm still waiting for bubbles to come at the edge of the saucepan. We just want this to heat up. We don't want to boil this at all. So while we are waiting for that, let's get into some track history and facts. The first Grand Prix was held here in 1980, known as the Italian Grand Prix, and was named after the founder of Ferrari and his son, Enrico Ferrari, which is why I don't think you can see it through all the cameras going on. We have the Ferrari F1 car now, guys. Yeah, my second team, and I'm going to be, well, not me. My brother's going to be building all of them for me, and for y'all, we're going to display them on my apartment wall. I'm constantly mixing this, that way we don't burn the sugar or anything. Imola runs counterclockwise, which makes it difficult for drivers who are used to turning in one direction. So instead of leaning, I believe it's right, they lean left, and that's hard on a lot of drivers, especially. No one really brings this up, but the drivers, most of them are right-handed. Between the years of 1981 to 2006, Imola was known as the Marino Grand Prix, named after the Republic of San Marino to distinguish it from the Italian Grand Prix held at Monza, and Monza is usually viewed as Ferrari's home race. Okay, we're going to turn off the heat and take her away. We are going to bring our cream over here and run it through a strainer. I'm going to leave that back down. And that way we get the pod out. And then we're going to set it aside for 5 minutes. So our vanilla can infuse. And now we're going to heat this gelatin mixture in the microwave for 5 minutes. This is going to stink so bad. I hate gelatin. Our gelatin has been gelatinized again, I guess. I caught a whiff of it. You'd think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. The things I do for you. No, I'm going to put that aside while we wait for our heavy cream to bloom for 5 minutes. Back to track fact. Most known for its tragic history of the specific weekend of 1994, where Ronald Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna sadly passed away. A lot of people actually claim that this is when Imola should have been put off the calendar forever. And now there is talks that Imola will be put off the F1 calendar because the person who runs the Italian Grand Prix claims that it's a lot of work to have 2 races. We are now going to put our gelatin into our milk mixture and stir it in quickly and make sure it dissolves completely because it has been 5 minutes. So after the tragic deaths of Senna and Rottenberg, the circuit underwent changes specifically to the Tamburello and Leave corners with chicanes. For 14 years, Imola was off the calendar, then made a debut during the 2020 season. It is missed the pandemic with the new name Emilia Grand Prix, but no one calls it that. So some quick facts. The circuit is 4.909 and has a total of 63 laps. When the race is complete, the drivers will have traveled 309.049 kilometers in distance. The current lap record is held by Lewis Hamilton from his 2020 lap record at 1 minute 15 seconds, 0.484 milliseconds. So I'm going to put this into the fridge until it cools completely, but we don't want it to set. So every couple of minutes, I'm going to take it out and stir it so it doesn't set in this jug. We're going to go back to the stove to make our berry compote, which is going to go on top of our panna cotta. I have 12 ounces of frozen, 3 tablespoons of granulated sugar, half of a lemon zest, and half a page of a lemon. We are going to turn on medium. We are going to cook that down for about 8 minutes. So while that is going, let's talk about this week's news. There's so much news that the off race week doesn't even feel like that because there was so much news. But let's mainly talk about what I hinted at last episode, which is that Alpine has dropped Jack Doohan for Franco Colapinto for the next 5 races. I mashed our berries down a little, but I'm just going to put them into this little Tupperware here and put the lid on so they can cool off. Setting that aside, I'm still waiting for our panna cottas, our milk mixture to cool, but I am going to use these little Pyrex reusable cups. They're little storage ones with lids, which is perfect. So back to our news. It's obvious something's going on at Alpine and they probably need to be investigated by, the UN, because swapping drivers out every 5 races, none of them are ever going to grow. It seems like the rookies were really close to Jack, so that sucks. Franco, he's great, but his fans, I know Latin American fans are something else. But the fact that Jack Doohan had round-the-clock security and people were finding his personal email in Miami is too far. I'm going to link a very good TikTok by one of my favorite F1 accounts where they talk about drivers' mental health, specifically Norris, in comparison to a Red Sox. If you didn't know, Red Sox are the Boston baseball team, and how if this behavior continues on, we could lose a driver from suicide. And on top of this week's news, Oliver Oakes at Alpine, who left as TP, and now Flavio Briatore is back in that seat, even though he's committed literal crimes, was running a Russian oligarch? Y'all, this sport is unreal. This is like a telenovela, okay? I'm gonna pop up. This is what I mean, if you haven't caught up. All on top of that, we got a thirst trap from Lewis Hamilton, which means someone's getting fired. And the rumors are it's Christian Horner. So I don't know. It's time to get into feminism and the hosting country's history. So as I've been saying for the past 7 weeks, I've been reading this book, Faster, which deals with F1 and how sports tourism was used to cover up Nazi tendencies and wants during that time using the Mercedes team. And my degree is in women, gender, and sexuality studies. So I thought it'd be insightful to bring my knowledge of what I study in school to this series and how sports tourism is happening before our own eyes in each hosting country. So we have 2 Italian races, as you know, Imola and Monza. So for this first race, I decided I'm just going to do the highlights of important feminist moments in Italian history, and then next race we'll go into detail of some of those important moments, specifically when I'm going to be talking about the last 3 important points of what is currently being argued. So all of these quick highlights wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the feminism movement and the commitment from women for women to get elected in parliament, first and foremost. And also, important note, women of Italy were very important to bringing down Mussolini, who was a dictator, kind of like Hitler, kind of like Trump. So keep that in mind. That is some background. Our cream is cooled, so I'm going to start pouring evenly between our 4 little jars. So these are the top 10 post-war accomplishments. Women got the right to vote. It was passed. In 1963, they won the right to public employment. Remember, women have always worked. They just have not gotten paid for it. That is across everything. Women of color have always worked, even more than white women. They have just never gotten paid for it. But it wasn't until 1968 when female adultery was still a crime, but men could do it. 1970, they got the right to divorce, to be the ones to file. 1975, reform family laws were made. In 1977, equal treatment for men and women in the workforce was passed. This would go to be amended for even more rights for women later on. In 1978, abortion rights and measures to protect maternity leave were passed. In 1981, the abolition of honor killings and shotgun marriages were passed. And this one is insane. And please, please, please look into this on your own. I'm not going to go too dark for this part, but I can't believe until 2006, the ban on female private mutations was finally passed. 2009, laws against stalking women were passed. And then in 2010, equality at work was passed. Then in 2013, laws against sexual violence were passed. And Italy is ranked 87 out of 146 on the Global Gender Gap Index from 2024. We are going to put these in the microwave for 4 to 6 hours to chill and harden completely. I'm also going to put our compote in the microwave so it can chill completely. So I'll be back. It has been 6 hours. Our panna cottas are done. So I'm actually going to see if I can flip one over. But let's get back to our topic while I try to see if I can do this. Let's see. So obviously Italy isn't perfect. Currently the fight for a law to allow Italians the right to only use the maternal surname without the promise of adding the father's surname later on is trying to be passed. Currently the only way to have a mom's last name, the maternal name right now, in addition to the father's, is if the couple is not married. Probably should have done one with more jelly. Let's do that then. Okay, I'm gonna do this one because it has a lot of jelly. Or in case if the couple is married, they have to submit a formal request to do so. So satisfying coming out. I'm such a little kid. Okay, I also have our coulis that has cooled, and the formal request has to be submitted to the municipality at the child's birth. I'm going to use a little bit to go on top of our panna cotta. And I'm also going to do the same with our ones that are in cups. In Italy, the current topic of conversation is on prostitution, surrogacy, specifically if it's considered renting a uterus, which I think is a very important conversation to have, and increasing hate for gay and trans people in the country. I have some strawberries that I chopped up and blueberries, so I'm just going to put a couple onto each decoration. And finally, it's suggested serving with granola. I've never done this, but here we go. It is time to try. I'm gonna go with this one because I want this one for photos. Let's get a bite of everything. Oh wow. Oh, it's good. I think if we didn't make the coulis on top, I wouldn't like this because I don't like Jell-O at all, marshmallows, anything with gelatin in it. But this is good. I even have the recipe in fear of not liking it and I didn't want to waste food. But this is nice. It's airy. It's perfect for summer. So that is an 8 out of 10 Italian wolves. Apparently that is like the only animal native to the area. So quickly, let's do race predictions. I've only seen FP1 and FP2 because it is Friday when I am filming this. So I have no idea what the starting grid looks like. Just what I've seen between practices. Obviously, McLaren fan. McLaren stated that they're not going to be that fast like they were in Miami. You know, they give us 30 seconds ahead. We're still on top, but I'm going to go out on a complete big limb completely on this whole thing with this podium and say Colapinto crashes. Not that I don't like him. I really do like him, but I feel like that is Jet doing energy. I also saw that he was on the simulator. I'm so sorry. Driving a Ferrari double podium because I feel like the Fosi needs that. You know, they're my second team. Kimi is also going to be on that podium because he is Italian and his whole class is there. And whenever your class is in front of you, you want to do something cool. And I can see it happening. And Lando takes back the lead from Oscar for the driver championship. And yeah, we have memes to react to. So instead of a doggo picture for the series, I like to close every episode out with the funniest memes I saw of the week. And you know what? There wasn't a race last week, but the memes were really good. So we have so many to get through. I have a folder with 30 memes in here. So we have a couple TikToks. Also, we had a woman on the podium last week, the CFO of McLaren, and I really love that. Okay, this meme about Lando's helmet. I still am gonna get that helmet.
Switch out on the dance floor.
That was good. Okay, this one is what I feel like when people ask me what DRS means, just because I'm a woman. I think I might have to mute that because it's copyrighted music. But the comments on that one cracked me up because, I don't know, just hit the brakes. I know, right? Like, it's hard. Just press the gas. Why are we slowing down around the corners? Go faster. And then men in the comments are taking everything seriously. It's all a joke. Okay, these Lewis memes. Because before I put him through hell, these memes are hilarious, especially the race car driver. Because what do you mean my kindergarten enemy I'm still having to fight in adulthood? And what do you mean there's a lasagna bar in Imola? I need to be there now. That is all I have for you. The memes are too good this week. So I will see you guys next week for the most iconic race of this whole series, which is Monaco. Hopefully Ferrari gets their crap together for Monaco because I can't have it oppress Leclerc. But yeah, love you, minute kisses. Don't think stupid. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
And it's lights out and away.